What up, YouTube? What up, Blockchain Nation? Once again, it's Remy here on All Things Blockchain, where I try to give you information in this rapidly growing space of blockchain technology. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button below. Don't forget to like. And for those who are regular watchers and have already subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. So today, this is a follow-up to a previous video that I did on how to install HyperLedger Fabric. So this is just a continuation of that video. So before you start, I hope you've already installed the prerequisites for this so that you can follow along. If not, please pause, watch my previous video on the things you need to have set up before you start this. And if you're ready, let's go. So once again, if you have on my edX account, if you don't have an edX account, please make sure you create one. And then we'll be going over to chapter 9, Introduction to HyperLedger Fabric. You can read through all this, but here we'll be installing HyperLedger Fabric. So just make sure your technical prerequisites are good, which is what we did in our previous video, where we installed curl, Node.js, npm package manager, Go language, Docker Compose. If you haven't done that, please pause this video and you can start doing that. All right, so real quickly, if you're on Windows or Linux, you're good. You can just continue with the installation. But if you're using, or if you're on Linux, or did I say Windows or Linux? If you're on Linux and or you're using a Mac, you're good. You can just continue with the installation. But if you're using Windows, older versions of Windows, anything lower than or Windows 10, please make sure you install this Oracle Virtual Machine and have the Ubuntu set up. I did all that in the previous video. Or if you're using Windows 10, you don't necessarily have to use a virtual machine. You can go to your Play Store, and let me just show you real quick. You can go to the Microsoft Store. I hate this when this happens. And you can install Ubuntu on your local machine. Well, I'm going to stretch myself out there. Yeah, it comes up. Slow is what it is. So you can go to your, where we at? Yeah, you can install Ubuntu on your local machine if you're using Windows 10. You just have to go to the store and do that. Or you can just use the virtual machine like we're using. All right, so moving on. The first thing we need to do, according to this, after the prerequisites are set up, is to install the HyperLedger Fabric Docker images. Now, this is a very old doc image. I used this for my previous installation and I had issues. So it says to check for the latest URL, you need to come here. So I'll go to my, so just to show you this real quick, according to this document, we have to check for our latest binary files here. You can visit this link, then we'll check our Docker images. My Docker images on mine. I've already done this setup, so that's why I already have this, but I'm going to walk you through how this is done. So if we see, you check your Docker images. And then the next thing that we do according to this is we export our path and then we clone the Fabric sample code. But if you go to the Fabric website, I just want to note this out for you just in case you don't get confused. So the Fabric website, it asks you to first clone your samples, then change the samples folder, then you install the binary files. So with edX does it the other way. It asks you to install the binary files first before you export, and then you clone your sample code is what edX asks you to do. But if you go to the HyperLedger Fabric website itself, it will tell you to do the opposite, which is to first clone the samples before you do the binary file. I know that sounds funny, but either way it works, both will work fine. But we're just going to follow this. So the first thing to do is install this sample code from here, which is here. But I realized that this is really this didn't work for me. It's still not updated. I hope it works for you. If you run this and it doesn't work, I'm going to put it on the link below what you can do. What I did was I got the latest sample files. I have it installed here, which is this. So what you just do is you take this. I'm going to paste it for you guys, link below, and then you just go to your terminal here, and then you just run. But anyways, so what you do is you install this, but don't use this one. I'm going to send you what you guys should do. You check your Docker images, which is what I have here. I have my Docker images. Let's say Docker images, which are already good. I've already installed. I hope what I just didn't mess this up. So the next thing that you do is you export your path. So let's do that. That's my correct path. So it says export path, which will be whatever your path is. So let me check what my path will be. My path will be export path home Ubuntu path now. So let me take this. My path will be, let's see where my folder is. So that will be, let me check documents, cd HyperLedger. So let me see what that asks for. Path will be bin path. Okay, so for me that will be, I'll just copy this, copy. So export path will be this for me. So I'll just copy this. Let's see, export path is this. So that's done. So what's next? So export path, clone fabric samples.git. So you will just run this next, copy, and they will clone fabric samples.git. But I have done that as well. So that's what you just do, is you clone this, and you're pasting the same thing, dude. Clone fabric samples.git will be, I'm sorry. It's not that way, my bad. So fabric. I'm working on two machines. I'm working between my Ubuntu machine and also my Windows. But slow down the video if you're lost in any way. So export the path, which will be this. So I've done that. After we export the path, we change to fabric samples network because we have to clone this, excuse me. Yeah, so let's clone this next, which for me will be here. Just paste this. But I've already, so once you run this, it will create this folder. I've already run that, that's why I don't want to run it. But if you run this, it will create this folder called fabric samples. So make sure you, so that's how you know it works. So let me just copy this. And then cd fabric samples. So once I've done that, I change to first network. Next thing to do is to clone this fabric samples.git, and let me just check that here. Once you run that script, you'll be here. As you can see, fabric samples, it creates this folder called fabric samples. So let me just run this. So we're good. So after that, you change to your first network. Let's see if we can change the folder that says first network. Let me just close this. I have two terminals open. So I'll just go here. So I changed to the folder that says first network, is what it says I should do. So I copy this, I paste this here. Fine, so I'm in the first network folder. The next thing it says I should do is I can start to test. So are you ready to get started? Run this command. So where do I run this command? Now that you set up, you go through set up a simple network with two members. So let's do this. So run this command within the first network folder. So let's do that. It says to generate something. Sudo should run this. Fingers crossed. This is the moment of truth. Password. Oh, it says command not found. First network. Stop read me. Why? First network, right? Oh, I'm in basic network. Ugh, I was just like, what? This is just, as you can see, I'm in the basic network folder. but according to the documentation, I should be in first network. I've just been killing myself trying to, but what's going on? Meanwhile, I'm in the wrong folder. See where I'm supposed to be? See, I'm supposed to go to first network. I'm in basic network. Here we are, first network. That's just so interesting. I went to basic network. So let me change to first network. Oh, I can even see the BUI. Yeah, that would have just been a headache. I'm like, why is this thing not working? So now I'm in the first network folder. So that's where I am, first network folder. So I run this sudo generate, paste. It's asking me, do I want to? I say yes. It's running this crypto generate tool. That looks good. So after that, what do? I start up the network. So this is the moment of truth to see if our installation worked. I have to start up your HyperLedger, my Fabric network. Like I said, if you run this generate and you get this error message while running second comp, if you get this error, that simply means that your binary files, I'll just show you, is crap. And that's right here. So if you get an error when you're trying to generate, your binary files is crap. And this one in this location too is crap. That just means that you have to use, I'll send you a link and then you can use that to run it. So I've done that, I've generated this, I didn't have this error. So what do I do now? Build. So let's run it. So how do we run it? What's the command? Yeah, so this is generate, we run that. So let's bring up a HyperLedger Fabric network by running this. So we run the generate and that worked fine. So let's run this. So we run this to bring it up. Let's see. It says we want to bring it up. Let's say yes. Let's increase this. So this is the moment of truth to see if our fabric, it says channel Docker version is coming up. Let's see. Still can't get over the fact that I have to go check on that guy. So it's coming up, it's creating volume, it's creating some stuff. It's running, as you can see. So that's looking good so far. That error message didn't come up. I mean, I had an issue down. I did my installation. I was getting this could not generate. Let me just show you if anybody gets it. You don't want to get the error message, trust me. It says, what does it say? Error message when running second. No, cannot find CryptoGen tool in Fabric. It's just a headache. It's just because your binary, if you get that error, it just means your binary files are not the latest binary files. And I'll show you where that is again. So if you go to installing HyperLedger Fabric, it just means that your Docker images are binaries. It means that you have the wrong binary files if you get that error message. So you don't want to get that error message, trust me. So make sure you have the right binaries. Yeah, it's right here. The binaries have to be right binaries. Otherwise here, yeah, this binary files here are junk. That's why we get the error message. So let's check. Test failed. Okay, chain code selection has failed. Why did it fail? What happened? Chain code. What happened? Is this failing? Showing channel, my channel. Let's open this up. Did it fail? Channel info creating this. Oh, that chain code installation failed. I went, oh, build your first network end-to-end test. So it's creating channel. So it's starting. It looks like it started, but what happened? Okay, the channel is created successfully. So did this error out? Let's see if it errored out. Why did this fail? Why did this fail? He failed strong. Cannot remove. Okay, I've already done this. Guys, I've screwed up my installation. Can you just imagine that? Once again, it failed. We'll be back. Alright guys, I'm back. So I had to take a quick break. So had an issue with my installation. and I kind of figured out what the issue was. I did not have my most recent binary files. That's what happens sometimes. I know this is supposed to be a tutorial on how to fix this or install HyperLedger for iBlock, but it's also good that you see that sometimes, and you definitely will run into some issues, which I did when I tried to do my installation. So the issue here simply was with my binary files. So I had to reinstall the binary files. I'm going to give a detailed description below in the link of the sites that I use to reference whenever it is that I have issues like Stack Overflow. And so yeah, so basically I went to the HyperLedger GitHub and I was able to see what you need to do to install the playground and to install HyperLedger Fabric. Now this uses the dev server approach, so I'll just show you real quick. Here's my terminal. So what you just do is you follow the instructions that I'll list here below, so that you can create your own your dev server environment, and you can control your dev server environment. So I'm trying this approach, and I think this is a cool way to do it. And so basically all that I have to do to bring up my environment, let's do this, let's copy, and then we come right here and we see if this works. So it's created my order, my network, and it's going, and it's going, and it's going. Yeah, so things don't always work out as planned. It would have been cool if I edited all this out and just said, hey, this is how I did it, I fixed the environment, everything is up and working. But I want you to know that you're going to have issues. Maybe you won't, but most of us will. Especially depends on what time, when you're watching this video. So we successfully submitted a proposal to join channel. Everything is working. And our environment is, our dev server environment is up and running. And if I want to bring it down, all I just have to do is stop my Fabric environment by running this shell script. So I just come here and I run this, and same way, stopping all the couch DBs, stopping all the orders, and so on and so forth. And it's bringing down my environment, which I think is just absolutely cool, and all that is done. So I'm going to put a link below for this URL, as well as the other URLs I did. Just one more thing, because we are installing on this virtual machine, it uses Ubuntu Bionic, which is a totally different flavor of Ubuntu, and so you will have some issues if you're installing on this, but I'll give you details of what you can do to prevent yourself from having these issues from some wonderful resources I found online. Anyways, hope that helps. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. My wish for you is that you learn how to code and install HyperLedger Fabric, because coding is changing, will change the world, especially this blockchain distributed ledger technology space. And in my personal opinion, those of us who get involved early will greatly impact the future. And if that's you, let's go change the world, baby. Thank you.